This is Hollywood. Matías Bombal with you. Bleeker Street brings us the much-anticipated story Trumbo, in which screenwriter Dalton Trumbo, along with other writers that were either communist or communist-leaning, were blacklisted or prevented from working due to investigations of the House Un-American Activities Committee. This investigative committee of the United States House of Representatives was formed in 1938 as the Dies Committee, initially to ferret out U.S. citizens with Nazi affiliations. It became a permanent committee in 1945 and by 1946 turned its magnifying glass on communism. In 1947, the committee held 9 days of hearings to study alleged communist propaganda in the movie industry. 10 members of the motion picture profession were convicted of contempt of Congress by not answering questions of the committee or not naming the names of known or suspected communists in the industry. The press labeled them the Hollywood 10, and screenwriter Dalton Trumbo was an outspoken one. This movie tells the story of these events in his life and the subsequent aftermath for he and his family. The Colorado-born writer started his work in magazines like McCall's, Vanity Fair, the Saturday Evening Post, and others. He became the managing editor of the Hollywood Spectator in 1934 and saw firsthand screenwriting experience in the story department at Warner Brothers. Early forays into screenplays included Road Gang and Love Begins at 20 in 1936. By 1937, he was writing for the screen full-time. He'd become one of the highest-paid writers in that period, earning just under $4,000 a week. Adjusted for inflation, that would be $54,000 in today's money for a week's work. Thus, it's easy to see why some of his colleagues with communist beliefs might have trouble understanding his perspective, as we see in this scene with Bryan Cranston in the movie's eponymous role and actor Louis C.K. playing a fictional screenwriter conjured specifically for this screenplay of this movie.
No, you know what it is? I don't trust you.
Well, I'd say go on, but I'm afraid you will.
Look, I know what I am, okay? I want this whole country to be different, top to bottom. If I get what I want, nobody gets their own lake.
Well, that would be a very dull life.
Yeah, for you, not for the guys who built this. If I'm wrong, tell me, but ever since I've known you, you talk like a radical, but you live like a rich guy.
That is true.
Well, I don't think you're willing to lose all of this just to do the right thing.
Well, I despise martyrdom, and I won't fight for a lost cause, so you're right. I'm not willing to lose it all. Certainly not them. But I am willing to risk it all. That's where the radical and the rich guy make a perfect combination. The radical may fight with the purity of Jesus, but the rich guy wins with the cunning of Satan. What?
Just please shut up.
Well, as you can see from this picture's narrative and history itself, Dalton Trumbo would not shut up, in his words or in his position on his beliefs. For speaking his mind and not offering names of other writers during the 9 days of hearings held by the House Un-American Activities Committee, or HUAC, Trumbo was subsequently blacklisted from the movie industry, which prevented him from making a living and supporting his family. The movie studios were afraid of any adverse publicity that might affect box office revenues. They couldn't risk having any known communists working in any branch of the industry. They were pressured by the giant arm of the conservative press, which could kill a movie's publicity either by not writing about it or, worse, publicly attacking a suspected industry communist in the press. Dalton Trumbo became a visible target of this media assault on Hollywood, making him a persona non grata. This movie's screenwriter, John McNamara, in adapting Bruce Cook's book, Dalton Trumbo, has used the device of having the media be represented in this attack by former actress Hedda Hopper. She'd been in the movies since 1916, when they were still silent, When Hopper's movie career began to wane in the 1930s, she jumped at the chance of a new career when the Los Angeles Times offered her a column, Head of Hopper's Hollywood, in 1938. With her intimate look inside the industry that she had seen grown up, she had tremendous access to the highest levels of the movie business. She used that key to generate gossip, both positive and negative, about the movie colony. A spirited Republican, she jumped at the chance to support the HUAC and go after suspected communists in all of her media outlets of that era, including her syndicated newspaper column, radio on NBC, and movie newsreel shorts from Paramount. In this movie, Hopper is played by Helen Mirren, as you may see in this production montage.
Decent Americans feel that Hollywood is just a haven for overpaid traders.
Hedda Hopper was queen of Hollywood gossip columnist.
If she wanted to bring someone down, she could.
She had 35 million readers. Extraordinarily anti-communist.
Hedda Hopper and others were determined to convince America that these writers were actually traitors.
Subpoenas have been issued to those we believe have knowledge of the ongoing communist threat in Hollywood.
Helen Mirren captures the vitriol of Hopper's negativity in this movie. With a family to support, Trumbo turned to ghostwriting. It was his only way to work. Trumbo and his daughter met in a cafe with screenwriter Ian McClellan Hunter, played by Alan Tudyk, so that Hunter will front a screenplay for him.
It's funny. It's breezy and romantic. Who wrote it?
You did, old boy. You stick your name on my labor, hand it into your studio, and we're in business.
Look, it is just some luck that I wasn't subpoenaed and blacklisted myself. The hearings are going to start up again soon. I'm going to get cold and canned.
Well, then quick, lad. Let's sell this little beauty and split the take 50-50.
Ridiculous. I'll take 10%.
You'll take 20. No, 30. And that's my final offer.
You're the worst businessman ever. I hate the title.
Me too.
Really? What's wrong with it?
The Princess and the Peasant.
Yes.
Please, Trumbo, it sounds like a puppet show.
Well, then change it.
I did.
Really? You think this title's better? Roman Holiday.
I like it.
Who invited you?
I did. She's my favorite Trumbo.
That was little Miss Megan Wolfe playing Mitzi Trumbo, one of two of the writer's daughters. Roman Holiday would go on to win an Oscar, yet it was awarded to Hunter in that particular ceremony. It would be easy to become swayed by the politics of this movie, one way or the other, but separate from that context, you'll find this to be a well-made movie on a dramatic basis with splendid performances from a grand cast. John Goodman plays one of the King brothers, who would give Trumbo so much uncredited work that he'd have to farm it out to his fellow blacklisted writers. Beautiful Elle Fanning plays Trumbo's older daughter, Nikki. Diane Lane plays Cleo Trumbo, the writer's wife. Here, following a long period of script writing where he was estranged from his family, which occurred after Trumbo's period of incarceration, Cleo tries to center his focus.
You have no idea what you could lose.
Oh, please. My career, and the First Amendment, our country. Am I missing anything?
Us. You're losing us. Since prison, you don't talk or ask. You just snap, bark. I keep waiting for you to start pounding the dinner table with a gavel.
So in addition to being a pariah out in the world, I also have the supreme joy of battling insurrection in my own
Battling
home,
insurrection?
where these 10 fingers literally clothe and feed and shelter us.
This isn't just happening to you. We all hurt.
Miss Lane remains one of the great actresses of our time. I so enjoy her on the screen. Another of my favorite contemporary actors, Michael Stuhlbarg, also appears here, but I was somewhat conflicted by how his role, that of screen legend Edward G. Robinson, was written for this movie. Great actor that he is, Stuhlbarg seems an odd choice for the iconic screen star with such a definite personality and voice. Likely it was the actor's choice not to imitate Robinson, but to get to the core of how the part was written, and he did that very well. This is an enjoyable look at a very creative and lucrative period of the history of the movies, where artists of the greatest skills combined talents for the many empires that were the old studios in Hollywood. Bryan Cranston's portrayal of the man who would write the scripts for such films as The Brave One, Exodus, Spartacus, Kitty Foyle, and so many more, is a tour de force of witty delivery and pride of individualism. Here's the moment when he visits the King brothers at their office to get some work.
Look, you're a great writer. I don't see it.
Mr. King, I'm a screenwriter. If I couldn't write, I'd starve.
Trumbo, we can't afford you.
Well, how much did you pay for the script of that? Bad Men of Tombstone.
$1,200.
All right. I'll write you a movie for $1,200 then.
And you don't want your name on it?
No, you don't want my name on it.
You got that right. Especially if you're still, up to stuff. Oh, yeah?
Perpetually.
The way that line is delivered is nothing short of delicious. And much more may be seen in this excellent movie that should be on your list of films not to miss. Trumbo, a credit to the cinema. The Motion Picture Association of America has given this an R rating. This is your pal, Matías Bombal, bidding you a fond farewell.